There is a statue that my family has kept and cherished for centuries. Supposedly, it is of a certain great-great-grandfather who helped create our family's wealth in forgotten ways and helped establish the regional government. Whatever the significance of this important figure, it is now all but forgotten. But the statuette still exists. It is still passionately valued. Half of my family is obsessed with it for reasons I do not understand. We believe that this half of the family has an inherited gene for mental illness, while the other half, the one I support, equally blames the other half for the same thing. Mental illness is passed down from generation to generation, just like this strange statue of a man. None of us know or knew. I should add that it is a strange thing, and it underscores my point about the excessive care and attention my family gave him. I must say that the crucifixes in the mansion are in disrepair, but this statue, this stone man, is cared for as if he were alive. It's as if the stone itself is made up of bones, skin, muscle, and flesh. It was cared for like a child, bathed, decorated, and frankly speaking, almost idolized. For years, this madness, like obsession, continued. The statue was brought to private events and family gatherings, as if the colorless lifelessness in her eyes could see events and rejoice in them. I swear I expected one of my relatives, maybe my dear crazy aunt or uncle, to bring a sandwich to her face, like a child. Brings it to a doll. Nothing so funny was shown, however. Years passed, and one evening, when my eyes were heavy and my glass was full of wine, I noticed something strange about the statue's face. I noticed that the face had aged. I don't mean aging like stone. Usually ages, with its cracks and weathering. It crumbles, nothing like that. No, I mean aging. Like a man ages. His hair is balding and his face seems to be covered with wrinkles. How can this be? I wondered. Not wanting to hear any criticism or anything funny from my family, I hid this observation from them, and later hid even the statue from their eyes. Before I realized it, I was possessed by madness. I spent hours studying its surface and observing it in solitude, correcting every flaw so that it would be flawless. I soon realized that I had become its chief, indeed, its sole custodian. To what confinement I had condemned myself, to what unwritten curfew I had bound myself. The perimeters, the boundaries, the time spent on this lifeless rock. Lifeless. At least that's what I thought, when it was just me and the last person living in the mansion, out of the immediate family. I was alone with the statue. I swear to you. I could hear him running around at night, his heavy weight pounding on my property, how he was always standing outside my door, making me go out or inviting him in. I know how that sounds, but it's true, and I know it's best to never invite evil into the house. Evil can't get into our souls, our safe area, anywhere, unless we allow it. So we must stay strong. I must stay strong. A little more time passed, and I, unable to bear the burden of this mystery, realized why my family was obsessed with this thing, for it was alive. I wanted to get rid of it, but hesitated to destroy it. Maybe it wanted to be destroyed to release the evil that was inside. I know better. I will not let it out of the stone cage. It cannot deceive me. So I began to donate many works of art that belonged to my family, hoping that one day I would gain power and eventually cast out the statue. Similarly, I donated many works of art from the property at the same time to various universities, hospitals, and other institutions. My actions were done out of fear, which I publicly disguised as generosity. The generosity that attracted the attention of a prestigious doctor and his gorgeous daughter, my age, a pioneering scientist very unlike many women I knew. It was special. We soon met at a charity event where a woman named Mary was in attendance. I courted her properly, and my efforts on many occasions enabled me to spend an eventful evening with her. One such evening stands out from all others by what happened. It was a long evening of wine, romance, and, frankly, some opioids. I awoke from my slumber and slipped into a nightmare when I heard the sound of a stone man at my door. I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't. The madness of my ancestors swept over me. Fear consumed me, and I screamed desperately, uncontrollably. I couldn't help myself. In doing so, I frightened poor Mary, who by then had become my fiancée. She demanded that, despite the hour, I escort her home. I did not, and she threatened to postpone our wedding and report to the authorities that I had kept her there against her will, as if it were kidnapping or false arrest to be kept there without her further consent. I know I saved her, but she apparently didn't believe me. I never saw her again, but her involvement in my life didn't end that night. She shamelessly told my remaining and distant relatives about what had happened that night and my reaction. At first, she blamed it on the opium, saying that it had sharpened my sensitivity and made me illusory. But I knew that was a lie. I was no stranger to vice, so she blamed my actions on a diseased and sick mind. I knew they would be coming for me soon. Knew of her influence with the director of her father's mental hospital and his influence with the local police. All of them would conspire against me. Mary claimed in her letters that she was only trying to help me, wanted me to get well, and would see me again as soon as I was well. But I was well enough to understand her tricks and well enough to finally get rid of the stone man. And so I finally sacrificed him. To where? I didn't know. I didn't care. I wanted it to be casual and anonymous. That way I couldn't change my mind and demand it back, nor could my family get it back. But somehow, for reasons I still don't understand, my family sent me to a mental institution. This was done either to rouse me for banishing this demonic idol from our historic home, or to secure my parents' money and get the rest of my inheritance into their possession. They claim I suffer from paranoia, from miraculous hallucinations. Suggest it's from the strain of loneliness or unfortunate genetic traits. Heck, if they know, I know the truth. I am writing this from the library of the orphanage to which I arrived just a few weeks ago. The day I arrived, I was assigned a room in a square house with a courtyard in the center. My room faces the courtyard, and from the barred window, I can see what's going on outside the courtyard and peek into the rooms across the hall. That's where I found it. There can be no mistake. The stone man following me. At first, I thought I might have gone mad and imagined his presence here. I thought that maybe I was rightfully committed to this cause. Now, I know that I am not. I asked for an explanation and was told that this was an art therapy room and that the statue was an anonymous donation. I naturally declared myself a donor and politely asked them to remove it from view. But they laughed incredulously, mocked me, and my request was denied. And so it started all over again, that damn statue. He moves in the middle of the night. I know it. He wants revenge on me for throwing him out of this place. He no longer dwells among the flowering gardens, among the holiday parties and ballroom dances. You may say, or perhaps you may ask, why am I so sure? Well, perhaps I just can't pinpoint his exact location through the thickness of night and thick darkness. But no, oh no, I know he is cranky again. I find pebbles and stone on the other side of the doorway. It knows I'm here. The guards attribute it to lack of funding, to the fact that the building is old and falling apart. As for the statue, it returns to its place in the window. Every morning at dawn, stares at me, I tell you. stares unwaveringly, without emotion, without expression. Her cold, ugly silhouette is always in that abandoned window. I've had enough, and I know I don't have much time. This building is too cramped for both of us, and he must know it too. It's either him or me, the ancient relic of my lineage, or me, her future. The legacy is in only one hand, and I will die before I allow it to be taken over by hands of stone rather than flesh and bone. Today, while working as a janitor, I stole the key to the art room. The staff on duty didn't notice. They were too busy flirting with a nurse. It's time to strike. If I somehow fail in my task, you will find out why and what. I promise. Though I can't fully explain. I know I'm not crazy, and it's no wonder my family worshipped this damn thing, because they knew and feared it too, just like I feared it last time.